The forerunner to this video, and first video in the series, is Call to Conquer's vision, which sets the stage for Call to Conquer's mission and battle plan. If you haven't watched it, please do so first. It may come as a shock to you, but one of the best settings and comparisons for an effective and fruitful life as a disciple of Christ is actually war, a spiritual war that is, but a war in reality that is more deadly and probably more costly than any other. And if we're talking about war, then we're certainly going to need to understand the mission. And that mission is actually a commission. But to better understand this commission, we need to spend a little time first understanding the photo and associated lesson that constitutes the backdrop to this commission. The photo in question was taken on top of Mount Suribachi on the island of Iwo Jima and remains an iconic image for the American war effort in the Pacific. The Battle of Iwo Jima was a major battle in which the US Marines and Navy landed on and eventually captured the island from the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. The American invasion, designated Operation Detachment, had the goal of capturing the entire island, including 3 Japanese-controlled airfields, to provide a staging area for attacks on the Japanese mainland. The 5-week battle comprised some of the fiercest and bloodiest fighting of the Pacific War. Sadly, however, all of this could have been avoided because the mission of Operation Detachment was ultimately and ironically completely detached from the US vision of conquering Japan. That is, Iwo Jima was useless to the US Army as a staging base and to the US Navy as a fleet base. But that wasn't the only mission failure of Iwo Jima, because the actual reason for the disproportionately high US casualties, 25,000 men in total, given that the Japanese were entirely outgunned and outnumbered, was also a failed battle plan. Instead of the recommended 10-day aerial bombardment requested pre-invasion by the ground forces, only 3 days were authorized. And so, where the 18 kilometers of Japanese underground tunneling would have been largely destroyed by pre-invasion bombing, it was only discovered mid-invasion. How tragic to consider that jointly more than 25,000 lives and 20,000 casualties could have been spared if only the Pacific mission to conquer Iwo Jima and its failed battle plan actually lined up with the Pacific vision to conquer Japan. And so here's the spiritual lesson in question for you and I that 25,000 men paid for with their own lives. Does your spiritual mission line up with the Lord's Great Commission? Because if you don't really have one, never mind a good battle plan. Or if you have, but it's detached from the vision, you can be certain you're going to incur some serious spiritual casualties. Fortunately, the remainder of this video and the 3 that follow it are dedicated to helping you win your spiritual war by employing both the right mission and effective battle plan. And our mission is very simply a commission and reads, "And Jesus came and said to them, All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age." Of course, we've all known this since our first year of Sunday school, except that without a vision to inform or guide this mission and a solid battle plan to implement it, we're going to end up like the thousands of US Marines on Iwo Jima, detached and spiritually dead. So let's quickly flash back to their vision and ensure that we are aligned. And here the vision states, to conquer as a spiritual man living in his spiritual home, as a living sacrifice, which is his spiritual worship. So then, what is building your spiritual home and battle unit, for your spiritual man that is, got to do with making disciples? Well, the Proverbs can help us here. By wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is full of strength, and a man of knowledge enhances his might. For by wise guidance you can wage your war, and in abundance of counselors there is victory. Accordingly, a disciple without a spiritual home is like a man without understanding, or like a city without walls. It is easily attacked and destroyed. And a disciple without a battle unit is like a man without strength or wisdom. He too is easily attacked and destroyed. So bringing this all together, to conquer as a disciple of Christ requires that you build a spiritual home and battle unit for your spiritual man, which in turn requires that you formulate and implement a tried and tested battle plan so as to enable your spiritual man to fight. And this brings us to your battle plan and what the next 3 videos are all about.